Hello everyone, I'm Lin Zhang from Wuhan University. Although the open access tendencies across different countries have been broadly discussed, a specific comparison of OA practices between the two largest population nations, China and the USA, is not much investigated yet. So, how different OA policies and the researchers' attitudes towards OA between the two countries and how to understand the differences is an interesting research and policy question. The detailed information of our research will be introduced by my doctoral student, Ya-Hui Wei. Please.
Hello everyone, I'm Ya-Hui Wei, a doctoral student from Wuhan University. It's my great honor to share our research at this meeting. The topic is the prevalence and impact of different types of open access articles from China and the USA. I have divided my presentation into 5 parts. Let's take a look at the first part. As we know, open access is a policy for improving the international infrastructure of scientific publishing and making publications freely available on the public internet. It breaks the two barriers, public access and price. OA surely benefits both authors and researchers. It promotes the exchanging of scientific information and improves the efficiency of research. The focus of our study is on the OA development in the USA and China as the two largest countries by the number of scientific publications. The policies in the two countries towards OA play an important role in publishing internationally. During the past years, both American and Chinese authorities issued a series of policies. There are some similarities in the OA policies of the two countries. For example, both require researchers to deposit their funded articles online for free within 12 months after publication. However, a systematic comparison had not been made so far of OA outputs and the related policies from the two major publishing countries. In specific, we have the following research questions. What is the prevalence of OA publishing in China and the USA? What types of OA publishing are preferred in the two countries? What is the citation impact of the different types of OA publications in the two countries? And how to understand the phenomenon with the OA policies in the two countries? Next, we have a look at the data and methods of this paper. We classified all OA papers into 5 different types, according to information available in Web of Science. They are DOAG Gold, Hybrid, Bronze, Green, and No-OA. The data source of our research is ISSI. We collected all different types of OA research articles and reviews published by at least one Chinese author or at least one American author from 2010 to 2019. Since ISSI does not provide information about the first author or corresponding author and whether there is international collaboration in each document, we added this information by downloading all documents from the Web of Science. Then, the OA types and authors of publication are connected by the unique worth accession number. Another thing to note is that a paper may be recognized as multiple OA types. For example, a paper may be labeled as both Green OA and DOAG OA. To ensure the accuracy of our study, we relabeled the OA types of all multiple assignment articles to ensure that each article belongs to only one type of OA. The unique assignment process is according to the principles from Web of Science, as shown in the Table 1. Let's move on to the results of our research. First, let's look at the overall percentage of OA papers in China and the USA. The OA gap between China and the USA has gradually decreased, and the policy-driven transition to OA is evident for both countries. However, after 2017, the percentage of OA research articles stagnated in China and decreased in the USA. Secondly, we have a further study of the different types of OA research articles in China and the USA. We can see from this figure that after 2017, the percentage of green and bronze OA research articles in the USA began to decrease, while the percentage of DOAG and hybrid OA research articles continued to increase. The declining trend may be partly related to the time lag of different types of OA research articles. There is no lag of DOAG and hybrid OA because the articles become OA immediately after publication. However, for green and bronze OA, the articles have a time lag according to the journal's policies. China and the USA, although with similar OA policies, have quite different attitudes towards the types of OA research articles. China has the largest percentage of OA research articles in DOAG journals, while the USA has the largest percentage of OA research articles in green and bronze. Then we conducted an in-depth analysis of research articles in the 22 ISSI disciplines. In general, we can observe that most disciplines mainly publish research articles in the form of non-OA, and multidisciplinary and microbiology have the highest percentage of DOAG research articles, both in China and the USA. More interesting, among all OA research articles of different disciplines, DOAG is the most prevalent type among Chinese researchers, while bronze and green are more prevalent OA types among American researchers. Generally, the first author or corresponding author can be regarded as the lead authors who having the main responsibility and contribution to an article. This figure shows the percentage of the articles within the 5 types of OA from a country, while authors in lead are from the same country. We can see that Chinese lead authors have more preference for non-OA and DOAG OA. American lead authors have more preference for green OA. We all know that the articles with international collaboration, the choice of OA type of journal will need to be agreed by co-authors from different countries. This figure shows the percentage distribution of articles with international collaboration among the 5 OA types. The percentage of articles with green OA from China is no highest, far higher than the other 4 types of articles, indicating that the green OA practice is mainly due to collaboration with scholars from other countries. China has more distinctive OA practices towards non-OA and DOAG. We can also see that the USA has more distinctive OA practices towards green. After studying the distribution of OA papers in China and the USA, we further analyzed the impact of OA papers in the 2 countries. We have selected 4 citation impact indicators from ISSI. Figure A indicates that the average citation within all 5 types of research articles is higher for the USA than for China. Green OA research articles have the highest impact in both countries, followed by bronze OA articles. The field normalized indicators in Fig B and C show that the impact of DOAG OA research articles is relatively low for both countries, particularly for China, which is lower than the average value of the world. hybrid OA research articles score the highest among articles from the USA, while green OA research articles score the highest among articles from China. Figure D shows that this indicator tends to level out the differences between the two countries in citation impacts in all OA types except hybrid. Further research on the impact of different types of OA research articles in 22 ISSI disciplines is shown in this figure. To aid the interpretation of the results, we divided the disciplines into 4 types according to the most prevalent OA type. The results indicate that citation impact from OA is not only contingent on the type of OA practice, but also the relative impact of the country in a given field of research. Finally, we got some conclusions and discussion. The most obvious conclusion is that the percentage of OA research articles in the USA is higher than in China. There are perhaps 2 reasons. The first is that China's OA policies are mostly advisory, not mandatory. The second is the attitude of Chinese researchers towards OA. Some studies have shown that most Chinese researchers approve of OA in principle, but in practice, they are reluctant to submit papers to OA journals or to institutional repositories. Some Chinese researchers are also skeptical and confused about OA publishing. However, this situation might be changing. A more recent questionnaire survey in 2020 showed that 65% of the Chinese researchers expressed their willingness to publish papers in OA journals. We also found both the governments of China and the USA promote green OA, but the relative prevalence of the types of OA in the two countries is different. Green is the most prevalent OA type in the USA, while DOAG is the most prevalent OA type in China. This may be that all research funders in China allow researchers to use research grants for publishing expenses, including APC for OA journals, which leads to an increase in the number of DOAG articles in China. Another important reason is the influence of China's research evaluation policies. Over the last decades, China's research evaluation policies have had a strong focus on quantitative indicators, with incentives to publish in journals covered by the Web of Science. Some DOAG or hybrid OA journals indexed in Web of Science have expanded their annual volume of articles and lowered the threshold for publication, thus affecting Chinese researchers' choice to a certain extent. The expansion of Chinese articles within DOAG has also created concern in China, so China issued some policies to change this situation. Especially the International Journal Early Warning List released by the National Science Library of the Chinese Academy of Sciences in December 2020, which contains 65 journals indexed by Web of Science, and more than half of the journals are OA. We take sustainability in the list of early warning journals as an example for more detailed explanation. You can see that the share of Chinese publications in journals has increased greatly since 2013, and then remained about 34% until 2019. At the same time, the share of American publications has been declining, and China has become the country with the largest number of articles in the journal. However, after China issued relevant policies in 2020, the proportion of articles published by Chinese researchers in the journal have declined, which shows that China's policies have played a regulatory role in the development of OA papers. Our results also show that hybrid OA research articles published by American researchers have the highest impact. This may be due to the characteristics of hybrid journals, which allows authors to choose whether to make their articles OA to public, and the researchers have been able to remain to publish in the traditionally most impactful journals. Another conclusion is that green OA research articles published by Chinese researchers have the highest impact, while their DOAG OA research articles have the lowest impact. There may be two reasons. Firstly, the influence of the Chinese Academy of Sciences institutes on the indicator may affect the general impact of green OA articles from China. According to our data, about 20% of the green OA research articles come from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and their citation impact is higher than the average impact of our research articles in China. Secondly, a recent questionnaire survey in 2020 showed that 82% of the Chinese respondents published OA articles due to recognition by the evaluation system. It seems that some researchers have published low-quality articles for the needs of evaluation, which may affect the generally low impact of DOAG OA articles. As time is limited, we just present some main points. If you have further suggestions and comments, please feel free to email us. Thank you for your attention.